So how do you get a tax lien removed? This is a great subject. I can't wait to dig into this. When looking at a property and you see that it has a tax lien or an IRS lien or a governmental lien, you need to start rubbing your hands together. This is when big money starts happening. In this video, I'll show you how to eliminate competition with an IRS or a conventional tax lien, period. This will be fun. But before we get started on any of that, you know what the drill is. If you have a question on that, just send it directly to me. I read all those and I answer all those. Comments, likes, subscribe, bells, all the good stuff that you guys like doing. So let's dig right into this. Okay, can you get an IRS lien? Let's start with IRS liens removed from property. Let me back up a little bit. Whenever I'm looking at properties and I see an IRS lien in the property, I get excited for a couple of different reasons. Let's just talk about in the world of buying properties through tax liens and tax deed. Tax deed sale comes up and there's an IRS lien on there. First of all, that usually freaks everybody else out. So you could possibly eliminate competition. Number one. Number two is the IRS is no different than anybody else out there. Okay, remember in other videos, when I'm going to a deed sale, I want to know everybody that's owed money on that property, and I want to make sure they have been notified of the pending upcoming sale. Okay, so let's just say that there's 5 liens against a property. Some mortgages, a mechanics lien, I don't know, we're throwing everything at this property, huh? And an IRS lien. Okay, so there's an IRS lien. Okay, all I want to do is make sure that these people have all been notified. So let's just say that this particular jurisdiction says everybody's got 90 days. Once the notification goes out that this property is being sold for back taxes, property taxes, these people have 90 days to do something about it. Now, the only remedy in this situation is come in and pay the county the property taxes plus the penalties on it. Then they can protect their position. That's it. Okay? But just like the banks and Aunt Sally and what have you, the IRS has to be notified also. Now, regardless of what the county is telling you, like 60 to 90 days over here, IRS always has 120 days to respond. But I want you to think about this for a minute. They owe the IRS money. The IRS is placing a lien against their property. So the only option for the IRS to protect their position would be to come in and pay the county off. So the IRS is going to pay your property taxes to protect their position. It's just, no. I mean, it's not going to happen. And attorneys hate when I say it because it could happen. Yes, technically it could happen. You're right, it could happen. But I don't think it is. The IRS doesn't even return emails for 6 weeks, let alone a notification on foreclosure on a property they have a lien against. Okay, so there's that factor. There's also looking at this and going, okay, is this IRS lien, if it were to be remedied somehow and stays on the property, is the value there? Can I pay this off and make it happen, go away, or whatever the case is? You can't negotiate the IRS lien. It's not your lien, okay? And the IRS doesn't negotiate with the individual, let alone somebody that's not the individual. Here's another little tidbit, a little secret that I've done before in the past. Just because it shows that there's an IRS lien on the property, it might not be an active lien on the property right now. What that means is they could have satisfied the IRS lien, but I'm telling you, the last thing the IRS is going to do is come into the county and take that off the title on the property. They've already got their money. They're done. That would be the person's job to do that or somebody else. So I've seen a lot of times where the IRS is like, no, that lien, that judgment, whatever, it has been satisfied. You're like, all right, can you give me a letter that says that? You know, because yeah, okay, they fax me over a letter. Whatever the IRS, remember, they don't do emails to other people. They want a letter. You want that letter saying that, yeah, this lien has been released on the property. It's no longer there. That's more peace of mind for me, you know. And then you go to the auction and tell everybody, hey, this has got an IRS lien. I just want you to know that. Well, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, so it's no longer valid on the property, okay? That could be the situation on it. The other thing is, if there is an IRS lien on the property, I've seen this before where they have the bid is so much more higher than the property or than the bid. Opening bid's $10,000, it bids up to $100,000. That overage would handle that anyways. So, where are you going with it? So if it's got no other liens and encumbrances on the property, but there's an IRS lien on it, and I bid it up to 100 grand and it's a $300,000 property, well, the overage is going to take care of that anyways. Because remember, excess funds go to the people that still were owed money that were eliminated because of the sale. So there's a lot of factors going on there. There's no doubt, but you got to do your research. All right, now let's just talk about local liens. We've really got to get back into the history of tax liens and tax deeds to really address this. Okay, so again, who controls title to a property? Ultimately, who controls the title to the property? It's the county. So I'm going to tell you this. The county will never eliminate their own position. Period. So if the county's owed taxes, you can do whatever you want. You can sell it to you, you can sell it to you. You can do whatever you want, but they're not going to issue clear title until they're satisfied. Here's the nice thing about that though, okay, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. So they're not going to go away. But if there's some kind of a lien on the property, what would be something typical? Maybe they had to demolish an old property. We'll use that one. They had demolished the old property, had to take all the garbage from the property, and now you're buying a lot. I've seen this happen before. And there's a $15,000 lien on this property. You want to bid on this property and you say, okay, well, this thing's worth 100. I'm probably going to get it for 20. Well, if the opening bid is only 5,000, again, we go to that 20, back to that overage on that. That would satisfy the county. And a lot of counties aren't even aware of this, okay? So I bid 20, they go, oh yeah, well, we want $15,000 of our money. Wait a second, there's excess funds over here. For instance, I used that one time when I was buying a property. They wanted the property, once the property changed ownership, you had to go from a septic to sewer. Sewer had already been laid in the ground up front. All the other properties went to the city sewer. They wanted this property to go away from septic and go to city sewer. It's costing me $12,000 to make that happen. I'm like, okay. But I also knew there were excess funds. So I went ahead and did the work, put it in there, then applied for the excess funds on that. The county people were like, and again, this is not some adversary role. I mean, I knew everybody in the county said, this is what I'm doing. And I had to literally get to the right department because some of them weren't even aware that you could even do this type of thing. So other liens on the property are fine. I got to make sure everybody has been notified. If they've been notified and it goes to sale, they're gone. IRS, same thing. County liens, city liens, sometimes even, all of those things can be a problem because the county says, we don't want to get rid of these things, we want our money. In rare situations, the county will say, hey, this property hasn't sold for a while. This is a supplemental sale. We're going to reduce the opening bid and forgive anything else on the property. But keep that in mind. They have to say they're going to do that up front. They're just trying to get inventory back out there. Now, I've seen that a bunch of times. That's the only time the county's not going to want their money. They're not going to say, hey, we haven't been able to sell this property, but we still want our money. It's not going to happen on that. So you got a lot of different options with the different liens, but it also comes back to research. Make sure you do your research on a property before you buy it. Look at all the liens on there. Have they been notified? If it's an IRS lien, that could be where you go like this because everybody else is going to be a little gun shy of that lien. Okay, so I don't just go willy-nilly on these things and assume that everything's going to be done. I'm not doing this on my own. Okay, don't do this on your own. There's two people that'll help you out with this. Every time I see a lien on the property that I've got some complications with, there's either a real estate attorney in that local market that understands real estate liens and all that good stuff, or tax title services. They're out of California. Nick and those guys, I've known them for a long time. They've been working with me for over 25 years, and they do a great job. And it's funny because I will call them up and say, hey, I've got a property. There's one property that had an $82,000 IRS lien. Now, the IRS had already been notified. It was literally several years after the sale. This was just sitting in inventory. All I had to do was pay the back taxes. I got the property. But I wanted to hear it out of their mouth. I said, hey, Nick, are you guys going to be able to get rid of this lien? And they're like, well, yeah, we can. I just want to hear you say that. Okay, so you got to understand, don't do this on your own. Hire professionals. It's worth every dime of it. You're not a professional in this. Let them do all the work. Know the process though, okay? There's a couple of people that aren't going to go away, city and county, unless they predispose that and say, we're going to wipe out our liens because it's a supplemental sale. Everything else will go away as long as they were properly notified. And I want to emphasize that word, properly notified. Okay, if I see an IRS lien on the property and I'm a little nervous about that, it's not a big deal. Just get verification of that. Call somebody up that knows and make sure they have the paperwork and the skill set to get rid of those. We've got a lot of information on this. As you know, I've got some great training on this. If you want some of that for free, it's my gift to you. We go into a lot of detail on this. Just go to higginsmethod.com down there. I'll get you a free book on that also. America's Investment Secret. We'll get all of that to you. God bless. Good luck. Be careful.